All right, today we're diving into a really cool story about how some amazing local foods from Kerala in India made their way onto the world stage. It's basically a blueprint for how to take something local and make it global. Let's get into it. I mean, that's the million-dollar question, right? So many places have incredible regional products, but getting them from a small local farm into a shopping cart on the other side of the world, that's a huge challenge. And it's exactly the puzzle we're going to unpack today. So, here's our game plan. We'll look at the hidden potential in Kerala, meet the person who masterminded the whole thing, break down her three-part strategy, see the amazing results, and then talk about what's next. Okay, first up, let's talk about the treasure itself. Kerala is home to some really special agricultural products, and a lot of them have this official status called a Geographical Indication, or GI tag. Think of it like a stamp of authenticity that says, this is the real deal, from this specific place. But here's the catch. For the longest time, these amazing products were basically stuck. Despite being world-class, the farmers were up against these invisible walls. It was a total maze of international rules and regulations that kept them locked out of the big global markets. Now, every great plan has an architect. And in this story, her name is Simi Unnikrishnan. She's the one who figured out how to tear down those walls. And her background is just perfect for the job, seriously. As the regional head for APEDA in Kochi, she had an MBA, so she knew business. But she also had a master's in biotechnology. That meant she understood the science behind the food and the tangled web of international trade rules. She was the perfect person to connect those two worlds. So let's get to the heart of it. What was the actual blueprint? How did APEDA, with Simi at the helm, pull this off? And just so we're all clear, APEDA is the official Indian government agency that's all about boosting agricultural exports. They're the institutional muscle behind this whole operation. The strategy really came down to three powerful steps. First, you have to become an expert on the rules of the game. Second, you can't just wait for opportunities, you have to go out and create them. And third, and this is so important, you have to empower the farmers, the very source of the products. Okay, step one, mastering the rules. This stuff can seem really complicated. SPS, TBO, CODEX, they're basically the super strict rulebooks that every country has for food safety and quality. If you miss a single detail, your shipment gets sent right back. So the first move was to learn that rulebook inside and out and make sure Kerala's products were perfectly aligned. No mistakes. Next, you gotta open those doors. And this wasn't about just hoping for the best. It was about being proactive. The team went out and negotiated agreements, these MOUs, with countries like the UAE and Saudi Arabia to make trade smoother. They were in the room for high-level talks with the US and the EU, and when problems came up, like issues with pesticide residues, they tackled them head-on to keep trade flowing. But all that high-level work means nothing if the people on the ground aren't on board. And that's this brilliant third pillar. They rolled out training programs right there at the district level for farmer-producer organizations. They basically gave them the tools and knowledge to meet those tough export standards, connecting them directly to this huge global system. So that's the blueprint. The big question is, did it actually work? Well, let's take a look at the impact. This quote pretty much sums it up. We're not talking about a small increase here. It was a significant surge. This whole strategy literally changed the game for farming exports in Kerala. And here's where it gets real. Let's look at some wins. First up, Marayur Jaggery, this amazing local sweetener with that special GI tag. For the first time ever, it was exported to the UK. That's not just a sale, it's a huge victory that opened up a brand new market. The wins kept coming. Next, Kaipad rice, a unique kind of rice. It made its first ever journey to the UAE. You gotta remember, every single one of these firsts means a new, steady source of income for an entire community of farmers. And this third one shows another smart part of the strategy. They weren't just shipping raw stuff. They were sending processed foods, like peeled jackfruit, to places like Canada. And that's key, because processed goods sell for more money, which means more income for the local economy. And it wasn't just those products. They went all in on promotion. There were big pushes for millets, these huge mango festivals, and a major presence at giant international food shows like Gulf Food. It was a full-court press on every front. So, what's the big takeaway here? Well, this wasn't just a one-time thing. This is a model that can be used again and again. Let's look at the path forward. I love this table because it lays it all out so clearly. You master the rules, and you get quality exports. You negotiate strategically, and you get new markets. You empower the farmers, and you bring them into the global economy. See, every single action has a direct, positive result. And they're not stopping now. The plan for the next 5 years is all about building on this success. They're going to help even more of Kerala's amazing food items get that all-important GI registration, getting them ready for their own global journey. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? This blueprint worked wonders for Kerala. It really makes you think, what other incredible local treasures, maybe even from your own part of the world, are just waiting for the right strategy to be shared with everyone?